you guys, today's video is another mind mapping video and the topic is sialolithiasis. So from its name I know that sialo means salivary gland, lith means a stone. So this is a stone that is seen in the salivary gland or one of its ducts. It is the most common cause of a salivary gland obstruction. So what happens is that there is a central nidus which is shown in blue over here, and around it you would see a lot of deposition of calcium salts. So that is its pathogenesis. There is deposition of calcium salts around the central nidus. So the central nidus, the thing in blue, has altered salivary mucins, desquamated epithelial cells, bacteria, foreign bodies, and all the product of bacterial decomposition. So all these things are present in the central nidus, and around it there is deposition of calcium, which leads to the formation of a salivary gland stone, right? So what are the clinical features? So what happens is that the patient might present with a moderately severe pain, which would be just before, after, or during his meals. So that's because you have the psychic simulation of the saliva before, during, or after the meal, and the saliva is trying to come out, but it's not able to come out. So that's the reason there might be a moderate to severe pain. The patient would also have a swelling. So this swelling is because of the occlusion of the duct, which prevents the free flow of the saliva. So because of the stagnation of the saliva over here, there is accumulation of the saliva in this region, and that creates a swelling. It's not necessary that the patient will have some symptoms. He might come with no remarkable symptoms, but if you palpate the area, you would find a palpable mass in the duct or the gland. So it's not necessary that he has a pain or swelling, but you might just feel it when you palpate it. So the most common age group is middle-aged adults, but it can happen at any age. And the most common site is the submandibular gland and the duct of the submandibular gland. So why is it that the submandibular gland is the most affected gland? Like 64% of the patients would have a submandibular gland or a submandibular gland duct sialolithiasis. So that's because the submandibular saliva, the submandibular gland saliva has a high mucin content, and because of this high mucin content, it adheres to any foreign particle. Also, the duct is long and is irregular in course, so there's a higher possibility of having a salivary gland stone in such a duct. Apart from that, you could also get it in the parotid gland, 20% of the patients, sublingual gland 16%, and also even in the minor salivary gland. So what are the chemical and physical features of this sialolithiasis? So the shape of the stone could be round, ovoid, elongated. So it could be any of it, round, ovoid, or elongated. Size, it could be few millimeters to centimeters. Color, it could be yellow, white, or yellowish brown. Alright, so shape, size, color, these are the physical features of this stone. So it could be round, ovoid, elongated. Then we said that the color could vary and the size could vary. Okay, then it could be single or multiple stones. Not necessarily that you would have a single stone, it could be a few small stones, so it would be multiple. The surface texture, it is usually rough because of the deposition of calcium, and this, because of the roughness, would lead to the duct lining, the lining of the duct to undergo squamous metaplasia because of the roughness of the stone. What are the contents of the calcium, like the stone around the central nidus? So we know the contents of the central nidus. Remember, these were the contents of the central nidus: altered salivary mucins, desquamated epithelial cells, bacteria, foreign bodies, and products of bacterial decomposition. But what is the composition of the structure around the central nidus? Is calcium phosphate, calcium carbonate, organic material, and water. Calcium phosphate, calcium carbonate, organic material, and water. Alright. So we know the composition of the central nidus. We also know the composition of the calcium around it. So what is that you see under the microscope. So under the microscope, you would see concentric laminations of the calcium around the central nidus of the amorphous debris. So you would see concentric laminations. And why are these concentric laminations there? It's because there is successive deposition of inorganic and organic material. So it doesn't happen all at once. It happens, it's a slow process. There is successive deposition of calcium around the central nidus. You would also see periductal inflammation under the microscope. Coming to the treatment. So if it is a small stone or a small calculi, you can ask the patient to suck a lemon. What happens is it would increase salivation, and there is a chance that it would lead to the expulsion of a stone. So that is sucking of a lemon. So you ask the patient to suck a lemon. Coming to the larger stones, you have to remove it surgically. You could also give intravenous antibiotic because, as we said, the central nidus has a lot of bacteria and products of the bacterial decomposition. So you could give an intravenous antibiotic, which would it's for the bacterial infection, and if there is persistent obstruction of the duct, you try to give the antibiotic. You could also give a piezoelectric shock wave lithotripsy, which is an alternative to surgical removal. Coming to a quick summary to revise the entire topic, you know what it is now. You know that it is a salivary gland stone. You know the pathogenesis. You can remember this diagram for the pathogenesis, and you can remember what are the contents of the central nidus and what is the content of the white area. Then we talked about the clinical features. Not necessary that the patient comes with a moderately severe pain or swelling, and he could just come with no remarkable symptoms. It could happen at any age, but the most common is the middle-aged adults. Then we came to the site, salivary gland. The site of the salivary gland is usually the submandibular gland, and the submandibular gland duct. That's because of two reasons, and we know the two reasons. Then we came to the chemical and the physical features. We talked about the shape, size, color, and the surface texture of the cyalolith. We also talked about the content of the calcium that is deposited around it. Then we spoke about the histological features, where we spoke about the concentric laminations, that's important, and the periductal inflammation. And then we spoke about the treatment, where if it is a small calculi, you ask the patient to suck a lemon. If it is a larger stone, you advise surgical removal. You could also give an intravenous antibiotic, and a piezoelectric shock wave lithotripsy could also be advised. So that's it about this topic. I hope you guys liked the video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.